this Sunday. Today is October the 13th, and I'm just doing another Facebook Live right now. I'm going over my review. I won't say my review, but my reading and my summary, my conclusion from Business Secrets of the Bible by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And at first, I was taking the position that this is something that would really only apply to people that were in business. But when I read it a little bit more, I realized it really applies to anybody, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or even an employee. So I said, I want to make sure that I approach it from that way also, because no matter what we're doing, we're all in business. So I see quite a few people that are on here, but I can't see names, so I don't know I ran into this last time, so if I'm not acknowledging anybody, please. Okay, thanks. So I see a thumbs up, so you guys can hear me and see me. If you can put some comments in, then maybe I can see whose names are there so that I can give a shout out. But anyway, I'm still a little nervous with doing this, but I said, you know what, if I'm going to improve, I've got to get out of my comfort zone and do these Facebook Lives. And I said that I wanted to review this book called Business Secrets of the Bible. So anyway, I am on chapter 2, and I have to be honest with you, I was a little disturbed by chapter 2 because, as believers, and even if you're not a believer, this book can definitely benefit you because it's still dealing with people and how we interact with people in business. But anyway, I was a little disturbed by chapter 2 because he talks about not being content with where you are. And, in the Bible, Paul talks about being content in any situation that you're in. And so I was like, wow, it's like, I don't know. I mean, if you're not content with where you are you being ungrateful? And so, we all know that having a spirit of gratefulness is very important in no matter what you're doing in life. So I'm just going to read a few excerpts from chapter 2 in terms of what I read today, and just share my thoughts with it. And then, maybe you all can share your thoughts or just, think about it in terms of how it relates to your life today. So in the very first page, he says, though God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden in which all was provided, he nonetheless insisted that Adam was to work. And, I never thought about that because Adam and Eve were born, they were living in the Garden of Eden, which was paradise, which meant that they had any and everything that they needed. And it was just, a wonderful place to be. Everything was perfect. But, and this was he referenced this from Genesis 2:15. And when I went back to that scripture, I did see that he said, that Adam was supposed to work and not just exist and just take advantage of all the fruits of the garden. And so he was supposed to work and to have dominion over everything. And so that was something that I thought was really interesting. I was like, wow, okay, I never really thought about it like that. And so he said, God's plans for man to strive to achieve more ambition is a good thing. And so again, that's something I had to really think about, because there's that fine line, there's that balance that we have to have with being ambitious and wanting to do and have all that God has for us, but then at the same time, we don't want to be discontent. And I looked up, when I looked up the Wikipedia version of contentment, it talked about basically being happy. But then when I looked up the Webster's Dictionary version, it talked about contentment was a state of being contented, and that contented means feeling or showing satisfaction with one's possession, status, or situation. And that made more sense to me. I'm like, okay, so it's okay for me to be content, but at the same time, God has put a gift in all of us, and if we're going to serve his purpose, we have to pursue and be the best that we can possibly be, and everybody's been given a gift. And so then on the next, there's only a couple. That's one thing I definitely love about this book. This book, the chapters are extremely short, and so I'm basically going through a chapter a week. And so he said that he talked about the fact that if anyone ever gets content to the point where they don't want to work, then you're not serving other people. And he gave the example of how, what if we, just felt like, we have everything that we need and there's nothing that we need to do, and everybody just basically slept in all the time and never really did a whole lot. Well, then how would the economy function? There's always going to be someone that has a need, even if you're content. Because even if I'm content with where I am right now, I still need to eat. I still need to have certain things, food, clothing, and shelter, and that's going to require someone else to work to provide those things. Because I can sew to an extent. I can sew on a button, but I can't create a wardrobe. I don't have that skill set to sew clothing and put clothing together. So I need to go somewhere and buy that. Well, in order to buy that, someone else has to have the desire to want to produce those things for me to be able to buy it. And it goes along with the whole part in the book, the beginning part, when he talks about community and coordinating and living together and fulfilling each other's needs. And so that totally makes sense. And then the other thing that he said, then he talked about, was he said that it is the exciting possibility of the infinite that drives the business professional to find ever better ways of serving more customers more effectively. It is what drives progress in the world, and is surely God's will. And that makes total sense to me. That even if you may be content with your own situation, there's always going to be a need to be fulfilled with serving other people. And I know I have decided that, and I know a lot of other people, I've heard a lot of other retirees say that they couldn't just sit at home all day, that even though they had retired from their job and they were getting a pension, and they materially, they had all that they needed, and even their basic needs were met, they still just couldn't sit home all day. And I think that's something that is innate, that God has given us. He's all given us a desire to do more and even to have more. And there's nothing wrong with having things, but you just have to make sure that you're cognizant of not crossing that fine line into greed and ungratefulness. And so that's where that whole balance is. And as believers, we all know, that that's something that we definitely don't want to engage in. And even if you're not a believer, I'm sure you recognize the fact that when you go down that road of greed and ungratefulness and always keeping up with the Joneses, then you lose that whole sense of contentment and sense of peace that you have by enjoying the journey and in enjoying the process. And that's something that I'm learning right now, is that when I'm doing something that I really enjoy, the end goal is not as important as me enjoying the process of what I'm doing, that is couched in my particular gift. And I think that applies to everybody. Everyone has a God-given gift, and so we're charged with exploring that gift and developing that gift and sharing that gift with other people, and then we'll meet other people's needs. And so you can never, how should I say, I'm trying to figure out the right words to say this, but you can always do better. That just like what he was saying in the Bible, we have infinite possibilities that's stored in our spirit and our soul. And so that's all I wanted to share with you all tonight. I think that if you haven't gotten this book, I would definitely get it, because I think can you see it? Yeah. You should definitely get it, because it definitely gives you a broader perspective in terms of life, in terms of business. And whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or whether you're an employee, you should always want to try to do your best and achieve more and accomplish more and serve more. And then everyone around you in your community, that's how you're making your personal contribution, by your talent and the gift that you've been given. So that's all I have for tonight, and I hope that this was beneficial to anyone. And if you could leave a comment, just let me know that you did see this, and whether it was helpful to you. And I got to figure out how to see when people are on. I can see the thumbs up and the hearts, but I didn't I didn't see names. I don't know, maybe I'm not supposed to. I just need to get more skilled up on that. But anyway, that's all I have for tonight, and all the best to your success. And I hope that you had a great weekend, and I hope that this was a good start to your week. Take care. Bye-bye.